kids because they hadn't had any kind of adventure in a long time. So he called them over to his house, and the first thing they did, which is what they always do at Superhero Granddad's house, is they have a good, healthy breakfast with lots of fruits and whole grain cereal and maybe some yogurt and some fruit juice, and it's a great way to start the day. And then he reminded them that if they're going to be great spy kids, what they have to do all the time is they have to be good children, and they have to play with everybody at school and everybody when they're out in the playground, and they have to share their toys or their footballs or their soccer balls, and they just have to have everybody as their friend. And then Superhero Granddad said, we've got some work to do because we've been going along with some of these adventures, but we're missing something. And what we're missing is, it's very simple, but I'm going to need your help because I can't just do this all myself. Hold on one second. So what we're going to need is the Superhero Granddad in his adventures. They're going to need a theme song. So I'm going to give you an example of a theme song that might be appropriate for Superhero Granddad. See, that's a pretty good theme song. That's just one suggestion, and that might be a really good one. But you guys have to come up with your own suggestions. And so, Peter, I want you to have a suggestion, and Gracie a suggestion, and then Ryan needs a suggestion too, because you just can't have a wonderful series like that without theme songs. So there you go. You got to do some work. Now, what I've called you here today because people all over, I can see it on the internet and I see it on the news, is they're finding out when they go to get in their car with their children, all the car seats are missing. And then you can imagine. So what are you going to do? You're going to leave the baby at home? And so like if Megan had to drive you to school and she wanted to strap Ryan into the car and the car seat wasn't there, is she gonna put him on the roof? Is she going to leave him home all alone? And so it was a huge problem because then it wasn't safe, and so people couldn't go anywhere, and everybody was crying, and it was just a big mess. So they said, well, okay, what are we going to do here? Well, I mean, the first thing you got to do is you got to have a plan. So everybody sat down while they were eating their breakfast, and they said, well, how are we going to do this? So we have to investigate where all these car seats are, and then we got to track down and who might be taking them and whatnot. And so they said, well, let's do this. Let's ask around. We can ask everybody and see if they've seen anything suspicious, and we can ask the policemen, and we can ask the people that pick up the trash, because maybe they go down the street and there's a bunch of baby seats there that people have stolen and they throw on the side of the street just to be nasty. And then they throw them in the trash, and then there's the car seats. They get all recycled, and they get taken to the dump, and then the people don't have their car seats. So that's exactly what they did. And come to find out that everybody seemed to think, well, we've seen this truck go around late at night, and they break into the cars, and we thought it was just maybe their own car, but it turns out, I think this might be it, because they were always taking something out of the car and putting it in the back of the truck, and then the truck, which they were finding, like in Maryland, let's say, they were always heading south, and so okay, let's see if we can just get in the school bus, a Superhero Grandad school bus, and head south and see if we can pick up any clues, and then so that's exactly what they did. And they all got into the school bus, and they packed plenty of food and water and fruit juices and healthy food, and then they started off south. And as they're going down the superhighway, they would see like little pieces of like broken car seats, and that maybe they had fallen out of this truck that the thieves had, and they said, well, this thing smacks of a lot of things that Colonel Sanders was doing. The evil genius, because it's just exactly like something he would do, because he's a nasty, nasty man. So then the kids said, well, Superhero Granddad, we can't go just yet because we have some very important week at school this week, and we have to learn some things in school this week. So can you wait? Can you wait until the weekend maybe, and then come back and pick us up? And Superhero Granddad, he said, sure, let's do that. And so he dropped the kids back, and he decided that the trail is hot, and we got to get down there. So he went down by himself, which was very brave of him to do, but that's just the kind of guy he is. So he goes all the way south and all the way south, and then he sees this sign. It says, Mexico, 2 kilometers away. And so he said, well, gee whiz, I hadn't planned on it, but it's a good thing I've got my passport, because I'm going to follow all these car seat pieces, and I'm going to go down into Mexico and see if I can find them. So then he crossed into Mexico, and the first thing he did was he decided that he had heard about some of the Mexican cooking. So he pulled into a restaurant, and he had some fajitas, and he had some fajitas, and he put lime juice on them, and it was so tasty. And then he had to get back in the bus and keep going. But there was a huge problem, because he tried to ask people if they knew anything about the car seats, and if they knew anything about a truck going by that had all these car seats in them. And it was a huge problem. And the problem was Superhero Grandad couldn't speak Spanish. Boy, what a mistake that is, because he couldn't pursue anything in this case, because he needed an interpreter or somebody to speak Spanish. And he said to himself, well, that's okay, because I got to go back and pick up the Spy Kids. And I happen to know for a fact that the Spy Kids are in school, and they're in a bilingual school, and they study Spanish all the time. And by now they've got to be pretty proficient at it, because it's so necessary. So he turned around and went back home to pick up the Spy Kids, and then we're going to pursue, and we're going to pick up the second part of this